Now, a new study has revealed children see more than 160 adverts per week, although their exposure to ads for age-restricted products is declining. On average, kids today see one advert a week related to alcohol. That's down 62% on 5 years ago. They see 3 ads a week related to gambling, which is down 37%, and around 10 a week for products high in fat, salt, and sugar. 45% less than 5 years ago. So, are these numbers good news for children's well-being? We can speak now to child psychologist Amanda Gummer, who's the founder of Fundamentally Children. Many thanks indeed for joining us today. Good to see you. What do you make of the figures?
It's really encouraging, isn't it? We know advertising works, which is why companies spend money on it. And I think as long as we are, alongside reducing the amount of inappropriate information we're putting in front of children, we're also educating them on critical thinking and digital literacy, then I think it's a really, really encouraging change.
Do these figures somewhat reflect the times, given the fact that, children are watching, and adults are watching less TV and they're watching more things online? I mean, I saw a figure that 150,000 young teenagers are watching more than 8 hours a day at the weekend of stuff that's online.
Yeah, and I think that's the key thing, isn't it? These figures are very much based around TV viewing, which we know is on the decline. And with the on-demand viewing, children are spending more of their time watching things on screens and YouTube and social media. So I think if we want to really understand the picture, we've got to make sure we're looking at where the children are spending their time and making sure that those adverts aren't popping up there too.
Yeah, I can understand people's desire to protect their children, but at the same time, is there an element of you can't completely isolate your children from the realities, whether it is, seeing adverts involving gambling or drinking as well?
Yeah, and I think I'm not a fan of banning everything, because I think we need to educate our children. If they don't see it, you don't have the opportunity to discuss those things with children. And I think, we don't want to have repeated adverts put in front of them for fast foods and gambling and inappropriate things. But we do need to be able to educate our children. We do that through talking about them. So if they never see anything, we are in danger of overprotecting them and not equipping them to deal with things when they are older and they do come across them. So I do think it is a big case of we can't put the genie back in the bottle. Digital media is out there, the world is changing, and we do need to educate children in order to help them develop the key skills like critical thinking and that digital literacy, to make sure that they understand what they're seeing and what the purpose of it is.
And where does that education come from, Amanda? I mean, does it come from mum and dad, or does it come from school?
I think it's got to be a societal thing. I think we need to have the social media platforms need to take some responsibility. I think parents need to be having that open dialogue with their children right through from an early age, right through to sort of adolescence and beyond. And the schools need to play their part in giving that sort of the factual, important lessons around the transferable skills, such as logic and reasoning and critical analysis, and not just sort of accepting something because you've seen it on TV.
Does that exist at the moment in schools?
Not as much as I would like it to, no, I have to say.
Give some proposals, some ideas. What would you suggest?
Well, I think the education system generally needs to move towards a much more critical thinking, analysis, process-driven education rather than a fact-based education system. We have the means now with Google and the internet and everything of finding out so much information that we don't need to learn things by rote. What we do need to learn is how to validate the information and how to check whether it's credible and really understand where it's coming from and any bias that might be in it. So they're the skills I think that are really important for children to be learning, and they get that through practice. And you can get it through English language, where you're critiquing newspaper articles or that kind of stuff, but the more of that would be really, really beneficial, I think.
Amanda, good to talk. Thanks very much. Have a good weekend.